visuals coming in of the Italian Prime Minister who's arrived for the G20 summit. These are the visuals coming in live of Giorgia Meloni, the Prime Minister of Italy. She has arrived for the G20. Remember, India and Italy have been deepening their bilateral ties, and we just hope that economic ties are going to be strengthened after this. Meanwhile, Shobha Karandlaje, of course, has received Meloni. These are the live visuals coming in. Of course, since morning, we've had a whole host of G20 global leaders who have been arriving in the national capital. The bilaterals are going to happen from today onwards as well. In fact, let me go across to Rishabh. Rishabh, Meloni is the latest leader, the global leader to have arrived in Delhi, but we've had a galaxy of stars coming in. Exciting 2 days ahead of us.
Is India G20 movement, as we have been talking about. India is hosting the G20, and all these leaders, one after another, are reaching the national capital. The national capital is decked up to give an experience to these visiting leaders that they can remember for life. When we're talking about Giorgia Meloni, remember, this is the second time that the Italian Prime Minister is in India within a span of few months. She has been to India earlier this year as well. India and Italy have been discussing a lot of issues, especially when it comes to Italy. After the Italian mariner case back in 2011, India and Italy had seen a dip in the diplomatic ties between the countries, but now things are getting back on track, and that's the reason that we are having Giorgia Meloni second time in New Delhi within span of just 6 months. Apart from that, we also know that there is a bilateral between India and Italy scheduled tomorrow, where Prime Minister would be hosting Giorgia Meloni, and the bilateral discussions will take place. India and Italy have been discussing defense, trade, as well as food supply and food security between the countries, and that is something that will again be on table when the leaders meet tomorrow for a bilateral meeting on the sidelines of G20. But we're talking about G20, the agenda is very clear. One world, one family, one earth. And India wants this grouping to come together for a better global development. And that is something that has been discussed in all the track meetings, all the Sherpa meetings, all the ministerial level meetings, and we have had over 250 such meetings till now under the chair of India. So it is going to be very, very important to see how things unfold from here. Whether African Union will get a full-time membership, which India is advocating. India is also advocating voices of Global South, and if African Union gets a full-time membership, that will be a major push for the voices of Global South at G20, and that will be India's gift to G20 for sure.
Well, absolutely. India has been pushing for a more inclusive representation at these global forums, and that is just one of the initiatives which has been one of the reasons why India today gets projected globally as the leader for the Global South as well. But Rishabh, you must also give us a quick update on all the leaders who already arrived in the national capital and the ones who are expected. Of course, one of the biggest faces is going to be of Joe Biden later on in the evening.
Well, definitely, what we know right now, the Nigerian president is already in India, the Mauritian prime minister is already in India. The day started with the Argentinian president reaching India earlier this morning. Then we have Giorgia Meloni, who had just arrived in India from Italy. We have Rishi Sunak, who would be landing in New Delhi post-afternoon. And then Joe Biden also reaching India around 7 p.m. this evening. There are around 15 bilateral meetings that are scheduled on the sidelines of G20 for India, and Indian Prime Minister would be meeting 15 different leaders coming from different parts of the world on the sidelines. Important would be Bangladesh, important would be United States, UK, Germany, Italy, France, as well as Australia. Remember, China's president is not coming. The Chinese president Xi Jinping is not coming, and Li Keqiang is coming. The premier is coming to represent China, and there is no bilateral between India and China on the table as of now. So this showcases that while the world wants to stand with India, China wanted to play a spoil sport at G20, but the world is standing with India against any such propaganda by our neighbors.